Yeah, you guys would have fucked without me.
For sure. I mean, just good thing Rusty was here. All right, we're live, boys. Welcome everybody to Echo Chamber. This session, in which we talk about the previous week's session. Last session, we got some combat. Haven't seen combat since the Onis, so not too long, but exciting stuff to get back into some combat. A little bit of RP, but a little bit of combat. Trying to figure out Siddle's story, in which we were convinced for a short while, anyway, that Siddle had a wife and kids. Which was probably my favorite part about the whole session. So,
I know.
so let's start with that. I think so. Siddle, how did Siddle react to that, coming from an amnesia standpoint, and hearing he had a wife and kids?
Was that sounds a bit out of character. I couldn't be fucked to talk to someone for 5 minutes, much less, foster a relationship and have children and get married and all that shit. So, was a little bit surprised, but hey, you know what? Had lost all memories, so anything fucking goes. Maybe personality changed when I got hit in the head or whatever happened. So, which we don't yet know what happened. So,
Yeah, a little frontal lobe damage, and you became an
yeah,
asshole, huh?
yeah,
So,
exactly.
so you went from world's best dad to world's worst dad with one hit
Yes,
on the head.
exactly, 100%.
Went out for a pack of smokes, never came back.
It was a carton of milk, thank you.
uh, I mean, I gotta admit, I wrote it down because I was like, oh, that's cool. That's part of his backstory. I
Yeah,
wasn't
it's
quite.
in my notes, man.
Yeah, I wrote it down too. And then I wrote parentheses afterwards. Fuck, it was all a lie.
Yeah, the same. I was just like, fucking liar.
Who's
Yeah,
alive? I don't.
the gentleman that tried to convince us that Siddle had a wife and kids. We were just discussing that part of it. So since you just got back, how do you think your character reacted to that shit? Because, I mean, Siddle was able to call him out pretty quickly, but I mean, myself, Adrin, we were like, oh, okay, he has a wife and kids. Didn't know that.
Uh, See, I had every intention of trying to act like I was his friend up
Uh,
until the very end, and then I was going to get all of our gold back and everything, anyways, or at least I was going to try. So I didn't care what information he gave. I was going to try and butter him up as much as possible, and then charm him one way or the other to get the actual information. Because I figured if he's lying about who he is, he's probably lying about as much information, and that's why I kept trying to offer him more and more gold. And he's like, "Oh, well, yeah. Oh, well, here's some more information." I knew he was screwing with us.
uh,
I just wanted to see how far he was going to take it. It was good. It was funny, but somebody doesn't take 150 gold from me and get away with it. Fuck that.
I'll admit I was amazed that you guys didn't use charm right off the bat. You took me by surprise. First that you didn't use it, and then that you did. I was like, wow, okay, they've really bought into this hook, line, and sinker. They chose not to use any spells. All right,
uh,
and then right whenever I thought he was getting away with it, you guys are like, okay, well, where are we going next? Where do we go from here? I'm like,
DM was
they're
trying
gonna take that and run with it, and then
was
you're like,
gonna,
charm.
DM was trying to send us on a wild goose chase around the house for a non-existent wife and kid.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
No,
I wanted you guys
it
to
was
go
good.
searching for it. That would have been beautiful.
It was pretty well played, but like whenever we figured out that it was him and he changed his disguise, and I mean, you have to really try and hide yourself if you're gonna scoop up horse shit,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
try and hide from people. So like the lengths that he would go to try and get away with it, he was gonna lie to us about something.
yeah, yeah.
And we
Yeah,
took our
That's
sweet
true.
ass time getting to him anyways. He wasn't getting away for free. He's
no.
lucky I didn't kill him.
So I think that brings up a good point there, that it took us so long. And Garrett, I'm gonna spill the beans here. So in fact, timing wise, if we had not fought the Onis, if we had not done these other things, we would not have run into all the hooligans and shenanigans. We could have just went and scooped him up. How do you guys feel about that, as far as like timeline wise for future calls?
Oh, I'm sure there would have been another band of hooligans to get there had those guys not been there.
Yeah, yeah.
So the actually, I will meta here a little bit and break it. There was not another band of hooligans there. There were other paths to go down that had its own set of trouble, but it was a completely different scenario based on when you guys got there. I had laid out a few very early on, depending on how quickly you went, and actually changed it up a little bit based on some of the things that you did and said that I thought affected it. So that was entirely the result of your actions up into the day of.
I liked it. I mean, I'm always itching for a battle, and I'm of the mindset that no matter what we do, something's going to change. I mean, if we go straight there, it's going to set us on one path. If we take our time, something else bad's going to happen. Regardless, I was okay fighting somebody. It's all right. It's, it was fun. I'm glad we got to battle someone. Yeah, I was okay with it.
I want you guys to get the battles in, but I also want your actions to directly affect the end result. I don't want you to feel like you're being railroaded, and that, well, no matter what we did and when we went, we were fighting these guys. It was it changed based on when, and I wanted that to be the case. As have many of your battles.
We have a good time. I'm waiting to see how this how our dreamer, the person who cast that weird dreamy thing. What was it? What was it that cast it? The hag?
Night hag.
That's what we're
I don't
that's
know.
what we're thinking.
Yeah.
That's the thought, but we don't know.
I can't wait to find that. That's gonna be fun.
And this was segue into what I wanted to talk to Carl. What I said, Carl, remind me about this.
All right.
There's a possibility, maybe your shenanigans was part of this.
Maybe whose shenanigans?
The thing that resulted in "fuck you, Carl" being a thing.
Oh,
No,
you think
Warwick. Warwick shenanigans.
Yeah. We had briefly talked about that because that was evident in my first thought is who did you fuck that caused this dream issue?
Yeah.
And then to which I believe Keegan was like, "Fuck you guys, that's not my fault."
If it was, I'd take it. I mean, that's what it is.
Could maybe.
Yeah, that was definitely our first thought. I mean, it's possible, but then we started to think back of when it would have had to have happened.
Oh yeah.
And it was it was right after billiard, really, right? Like we just turned them to billiard. He didn't hook up with anybody in billiard because it was just the old half orc at the bar there, so he ended up not hooking up, and then we ended up going off to the waterfall, and from there, and Moog's windmill, and from there that's where we woke up again. So we had his shenanigans had not quite started yet at that point. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean coincidentally he didn't do some shenanigans with because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, the night hag can polymorph into a young female, right?
I can't remember. There's the green hag and there's the night hag. I think maybe the night hag cannot. There's more than two. There's like 5 or 6 different versions of them. I can't remember which is which.
Per the monster manual, yes, they can polymorph.
Can they? Okay.
Yeah, and that's a good point, G. Like this could be something completely homebrew that we, could polymorph into a dude for all we know, and it was the farmer all along. We truly do not know.
Yep.
Or maybe you're not Amrook.
Or maybe you're not Warwick.
That's a good possibility.
And you're really Dodo Shaggins.
You never know.
Keegan wasn't around during the fuck you Amrook time, was he?
No, I don't think he was.
No.
It was an intense time in which the entire group hated me for about 2 sessions.
Why would you do it?
I did nothing.
This motherfucker got caught, and then a fucking shapeshifter took his form and attacked us.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Amrook was decided he was going to skin an owlbear, the owlbear pelt that he's currently wearing today, and shortly after the skinning process, he got kidnapped, and the doppelganger took his place and led everybody into battle, and then turned on him.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it was well played by Garrett, although it did make me wonder why the group was so willing to take Amrook back.
It's true. They just dug right in. They're like, okay, hey, we're friends again.
Like, all
Is
right.
it you? Yes. Okay. We trust you.
You could have done something like you have to I don't know, like scar your hand or do something to where they can tell it's you. I don't know, something weird. Chop off your left ear. I don't know.
So we're all going to
I
make a
don't know.
blood
I don't
pact,
know.
is what you're saying. We're all just going to make a blood pact, and that way this doesn't happen again, huh?
Absolutely. I feel like this is
It still sows a little bit of distrust within the group, even a year later.
I
You
feel
know
like-
what? I don't know if there's distrust there, or it's, hey, Amrook, remember that time you got kidnapped type deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's more of what it is.
So not just Amrook, though. I would say anytime anyone acts a little bit out of character, you guys get a little hesitant, and I can see some ponders of, is this him? And not just Amrook, but Griswold's pulled it a few times.
no,
I think
Chris.
Reed once or twice.
I mean, all right. In our defense with Greed, or sorry, not Greed, Grizz. That was a combination between Grizz and Reed.
I like
If
it.
they
Yeah,
if
wow.
they were a couple, we'd call them Greed. I think we should start calling
Yes.
them
I'm
I
fine
I
with
think we need to ship Reed and Grizz.
I love it.
From now on, let's make them room together, no matter where we stay.
I think Reed would love that. Yeah, he would love that. Grizz, on the other hand, probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
But anywho, in our defense with Grizz, we never know what he's gonna do anyway. So,
Very true.
I mean, the rope situation was kind of on repeat this past time, and that kind of brings me to my point. So, these hooligans, we'll call them, they showed up, and of course he did throw a dagger, but we did not try and negotiate at all. Like, Grizz pulled out the weapons immediately, which I'm not discrediting him for. I'm just saying, should we have tried to negotiate? What's your opinion, Adrian? We'll go with you first.
Adrian's opinion or Eric's opinion?
Both. Let's do both. I like that.
All right, Adrian probably would. Yeah, he would probably side on the idea of negotiation. But I guess this is me too. But I guess deep down he kind of knows there's probably no negotiating with these guys.
Yeah, agreed. They might have let us on, and then we ended up fighting them later. But just curious.
Yeah.
So Warwick, I'm assuming he wants all the gold he can get. He's not splitting extra gold with these fuckers. They didn't do anything, and he was kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually took a look at the wanted poster a few times, and I'm like, it doesn't state. It just says we have to capture him. It doesn't say he has to be dead or alive, though. So if I slit his throat, we can take his body back.
So yeah, we talked about a little bit about this after the session as well, and there are some of the group that are all for killing him. They're just like, let's kill him, that way we don't have to worry about returning his dead body. Siddle, where do you stand on that aspect? Like, you all for let's just kill him, turn him in, or do you think we are not judge, jury, and executioner? We should just turn him in.
So I lean more towards let's turn him in, but there's certainly a heavy-handed dash of, well, it does say delivered to the axe of Mirabar, and thinking the analytical wizard whatever thing, and we might miss out on 5,000 gold if we don't deliver him alive.
Yeah, right.
But then at the same time, I could just raise him from the dead and deliver a fucking undead zombie to that axe of Mirabar and say, fuck it.
Here's my thought process, right? So the other group that's going after him, if they're hooligans and thugs, they likely are wanted in some way, shape, or form. Maybe I'm just assuming, right? But maybe they've done some pretty bad shit. They might be wanted. So
maybe
if
they're
we
just bounty hunters, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they might be wanted somewhere. I don't know. You never know, right? They could just be greedy and want the gold like us. But we're a good group, right? Everybody knows who we are. So if we go in and say, hey, he was part of this group, they all attacked, he just happened to die, and we killed all these other dudes with us. Do you need any of them too? We could get even more gold. You never know. It's a toss-up. I'm just trying to maximize my profits here. All right. If I can turn in more people and get more gold, we're good.
Typical salesman.
That's
Yeah, really.
yeah. I mean, it worked out. And I just want to cut off his head and like hold it up to the Mirabar army. Say, here you go. And drop it.
So does Siddle have a little bit of revenge for this guy? Because he's pretty much the one that sent you to go get killed.
I was going to say, there's certainly a strong amount of, wow, this guy has zero whatever about setting some random fuckhead up to, go face his death.
Yeah.
Or fuck knows what reason this guy doesn't even know and doesn't care, And there's definitely a lot of curiosity and sort of vengeful thoughts towards this S Society, whoever the fuck they may be.
Yeah, the more I'm thinking about it, the more it might be best if we keep him alive. Simply because if we kill him, it'll end his suffering. If we turn him in, he'll suffer more.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good point. So do we interrogate him a little bit more? So we interrogated him about Siddle, but we didn't really interrogate him too much on the S Society, right?
We did. We did though. We asked him a lot of questions about it. He didn't give us any information, and he has to be truthful because he's under charm.
Oh, okay.
He really couldn't give us any information about the S Society.
Yeah, I think that was purely a case of he didn't know and he didn't care.
Yeah, he just wanted the gold.
Yeah, someone offered him a chunk of cash, and he said, "Yeah, yes, please, let's take it."
Yeah.
Okay. So where do we go from there then, Siddle? Do we, is the next step for Siddle's backstory to investigate the S Society, or where do you see that part going?
Yeah, so I don't know if we do S Society immediately or if we go try and gather a little bit of evidence at the Rusty Nail.
Right.
Do we even know where to start with the S Society though?
Well, I mean, we could visit some libraries, stuff like that, and start to gather information. Just start to. I'm sure the Lords of Alliance that Grizz is part of has some knowledge that we could tap into.
Yeah.
I'm still not super trusting of them, by the way.
What's that?
What's that?
So I'm still not super trusting of the Lords Alliance, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a cult. I get that, but Grizz is all in, so that's all I can say.
I mean, that should tell you right there.
Grizz has drank the Kool-Aid, so to speak. He's like, Jim Jones, yeah, let's do it.
He's just a little too big. It takes more than one swig of Kool-Aid to knock him down.
The other thing is Mr. Bojangles.
It's in my notes. I wanted to bring it up. G, I will give you full credit on the full circle that you brought for us, because we visited Agatha a year and a half ago, got the information about Bojangles, didn't think anything of it. We were like, oh, okay, that's the necromancer. We'll probably never come across, whatever. And then it was history at the time, and and now it's coming full circle. So how was that for you to watch our faces as you dropped that bombshell on us?
Oh, so rewarding. It was beautiful. It was everything I'd hoped and dreamed it would be. Just much later than I expected here. But as you guys were putting it together, and I didn't expect you to, and I had to lead you on a little bit. Archery Society, the bow. What is that? But whenever it clicked with Eric and I saw everyone's faces, it was beautiful. It was rewarding for the wait.
Now, something that I'm... Oh, fuck. So what I want to know is... So one thing we did get out of the Weevil was... And I don't remember if this was pre or post Charm, so someone please feel free to correct me, but... apparently Siddle was very adamant that this book was rightfully his. Keegan, do you remember if that was before or after?
I'm pretty sure that was before the
I
Charm.
think it was both, to be honest. I think he said it before, but then he confirmed that, yes, you were looking for the book at the Rusty Nail and yada yada, and I think it was confirmed after as well. So I think that's probably just some sort of wizard complex that, all arcane knowledge belonged to me, type deal. Those wizarding assholes.
That's true. That's true.
Fair point.
Um, but I mean, I could be completely wrong. I'm pretty sure it was confirmed both before and after.
Yeah, I think the thing that stuck with me most was, why was I so adamant that that is rightfully mine instead of, I feel like Sybil's character, maybe the norm would be, you know, oh, that's something this is a book I'd really like to get my hands on, versus I own this fucking thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what's in it.
I mean, it would be a wizarding book, so it would be like a spell book, pretty much, like one of the most powerful spell books in the world.
Well,
Yeah,
it was
Bojangles is basically the Einstein of the wizarding schools.
Yeah, well,
Well,
he like taught his own field of study, right? His own school of magic.
Yeah,
he
he
was.
was the dude that invented cantrips.
Who was
I
this?
need to find this so I can look into
Didn't he?
it.
Bojangles? Bojentles? Bogenitals?
Bogentle, yeah.
Yes. Genitals.
Bogenitals.
Yes.
But I thought the book was a necromantic book.
No, it was given to a necromancer. So,
Oh, okay.
Bogentile was the guy who it was his book, and he died somehow, and Agatha had it, and she traded it to a necromancer that went down to the southeast. I'm pretty sure now.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Obviously,
Yeah.
that was a year and a half ago, so we're all a little foggy on it, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Written down. I know I have it written down. I gotta go back through and look at it.
Yeah, and
Eric
definitely
does have it written down, so I'll confirm some facts based on what he has written down. That is correct. It was lost. It was then found by taken by Agatha one way or another, and it was traded to Sarnath,
Sarnath. That's what it is.
a necromancer from Eriabor. So it was not necessarily a necromantic book. It was just traded to a necromancer in Eriabor, and that was the last it was seen about 100 years ago, and she did not know its current location.
And then we ran into a necromancer shortly after, so we kind of put that, and we're like, oh, well, we'll
You must be
return to that later. Yeah, exactly.
I will also, let me just caution with this. Bogentle is, yes, the Einstein of the wizarding world, was brilliant, invented the cantrip. Per actual history, from there, the only other thing that I maintain from the formal history is the powerfulness of the book, per se, and the fact that he was an instructor at the university in Silvery Moon. So other than that, don't entirely trust anything else you may or may not read. Those facts you already know, but...
I mean, I haven't read anything. I was just going based on, our history knowledge, that type of stuff.
Of course. Rusty just seems to have some knowledge of him, and Keegan's already searching. How do you spell this goddamn thing? I can hear the keyboard going. I can't really, but I know it's going to happen.
Because I've encountered some of the lore in another campaign, so.
Oh, interesting.
Neat.
Okay.
But I think it was the by the book lore because I went and looked it up afterwards, and it was like straight out of Forgotten Realms fandom, right? So.
Yep. And similar to our previous discussion here on Echo Chamber, I tried to maintain some of that originality without veering, but there's only so much lore there, so I did have to create a little bit more that may or may not be found over time.
I like it.
Badass.
So what's the next step after we figure out Siddle, right? I mean, assuming we don't run into or go down another rabbit hole, right?
Well,
what is the next? What are we trying to do?
We kind of talked about the giant that fights other giants, the storm giant up to the north. It was a frost giant. I think I have in my notes storm. Harshnag. Yeah. And he hates other giants, and so him as an ally might be a next option. That's not to say, like you said, there aren't going to be other rabbit holes that come up.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Grizz to jump on his side story.
Yeah, which we could possibly do. My only issue with that is time. right? We only have so much time before something culminates, and so if we're doing all these side things, great.
Yeah, right.
But at the same time, we have to balance that.
Right.
I'm just along for the ride.
I mean, we still kind of need to check out Lork in the Stone Giants, but I think that's down the road too.
Yeah, that one's more passive. I think we need to find out. So the main reason for Siddle's part was to get more information because we had to figure out what Siddle knew that he didn't know he knew, right?
Mhm.
Because he's got knowledge of the Giants and what's going on locked away somewhere, and so that was kind of where that's at. And I think that will also help us, uncover the next steps and figure out what to do.
Or maybe we've tapped Siddle. Maybe he's provided all the information that he knows that he doesn't know.
Does that mean we're
Possibly.
getting rid of him? Does that mean we're getting rid of him? Is he gone?
Maybe.
How long is valuable?
Maybe.
There.
Send me to the fucking rusty nail again.
It's a really cool book for you, buddy. I heard. That's awesome. Or
Can I just say? Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
No, go ahead, buddy.
I was gonna say, can I just say I also appreciate the chuckles I got out of the name of the tavern.
Uh-huh.
I enjoyed that thoroughly.
That was good.
I attempted to find the genealogy of your last name to see if there was any interpretation, anything it stood for, anything whatsoever. However, it has no connotations to it whatsoever that I could find realistically, and so I couldn't tie that in.
It took me a quick minute. I'm like, hold on, Rusty now. I get it. I get it.
My immediate first thought was the alcoholic beverage, the rusty nail, and so that's where my mind went first.
I don't know this.
That was second.
Yeah.
For me.
I didn't know that existed. I now I
Oh yeah,
apologize.
the rest of you know.
Scotch, drambuie, and a little bit of lemon.
Ooh.
Okay.
No intention made there whatsoever. If that's copyrighted or branded, I was just thinking of metal objects. It would be rusty. It was that, or the rusty coin, or something like that.
I was hoping
Rusty
you'd
nail
go
that
rusty
sounded more
spoon,
comfortable. The rusty spoon, maybe. Well, sorry about that. Missed opportunities.
I like it.
No, good stuff. All right. I have two more things. I would feel remiss if I didn't mention the second bar we've come across with a comical name, in this case just an inn, the Threatening Butterfly, right up there with the Fuzzy Quarterstaff. I can't help it. I mean, we got three places with really good names right there. And then I did want to mention, I want to make sure we mentioned for Ryan, that Reed got Grizz to gamble. He is slowly but surely corrupting Griswold, and he's getting him to do things that are against his alignment slowly but surely. And I think that is hilarious, and that's a hilarious take for Ryan to play Reed's character.
I was really hoping that Grizz would win and then just go take all the money and go give it to a church somewhere, because that would have freaking cracked me up.
Yeah, but that would not be Evan. Evan would take that gold he won to go buy a magic item.
Yeah, exactly.
What I found interesting, though, you're talking about the relationship with Reed and Griswold. Something is blossoming there, because if you think about it, at the very end, or halfway through a battle, right? Grizz casts command. The guy gets up to him. He has like 3 hit points left, right? Basically, Griswold can fart and the guy dies. It's Reed's turn. And Reed says, no, I'm going to attack the other guy. I'm going to leave this guy for Grizz. He knows how bad Grizz wants to kill this guy.
No, that's not Reed being nice. That's Reed hoping to corrupt further, because he knows this guy's on his last leg, and he's like, go ahead, Grizz, kill him. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure what Reed's doing.
Get
there.
the blood on your.
It's the whole Emperor Palpatine. Do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's what it is. He wants him to just like come to the dark side.
I don't know. Yeah. I think Reed may be having a change of heart. His character arc is finally coming into play. I think he has some feelings for Grizz. He's starting to love him like a brother.
I mean that. I think honestly, we've talked about that relationship before, and I think honestly, it is kind of that symbiotic relationship. But I definitely think Reed wants to corrupt him more so than any sort of whatever he gains from it.
Do you think
Opposites
he wants
attract,
to,
man.
do you think he wants to corrupt him because he just truly wants Griswold to be on the dark side, or does he want to corrupt Griswold because he wants to try and build a closer relationship? Because we all know
Ooh,
Reed's
that's a good
never going to
question.
be good, right?
Read
Reed's never
2021.
going to start praying ever.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, you know what? In the beginning, I wouldn't have said Amrook would have prayed ever either. So I don't know. I
No,
think that kind of happens based on what happens in the story and how you think your character would interpret it and how they would react. So I think that yeah, you're onto something with the relationship and I think they might meet in the middle, like you said.
they'll be
Or
interesting.
yeah.
They'll be neutral. They'll be neutral. I like
I
it.
I don't know if Reed has anything to do with it. I feel like it'll be a little bit more chaotic than neutral, but we'll see.
Well, if Evan has anything to do with it, it's going to definitely be chaotic.
Well, for sure. It will be chaotic either way, I guess. And with that, we got about 12 minutes left. You know what time it is. It's everyone's favorite time, right? Magic
Yay!
item of the week.
Magic
Uh,
item of the week. Magic
Magic
item
item
of the
of the
week.
week. Oh, I like that one. We're gonna have to do that one. We need somebody snip that for us. Magic item of the week. All right. So we are almost out of magic items within the party. So I asked our dear friend Adrin to give us something magic item wise that maybe he's heard of that might be interesting. Eric, do you want me to go over what it is, or
Yeah,
do
go
you
ahead.
want
Go
to?
ahead. You can give the overview.
All right, I'll give the overview, and then I want you to give me a little bit more in depth and tell me how you think it would be used in the party, or how you think
Oh
it could be
God.
used in the party.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
right, yeah. So this one is the figurine of wondrous power. It's a figurine of a statuette of a beast small enough to fit in your pocket, and so it's one of these multiple things, and it's a small statue that fits in your pocket. It can be giant fly, golden lions, ivory goats, which is what Adrin liked the most, marble elephant, obsidian steed, onyx dog, serpentine owl, silver raven. And basically, you have a command word. You throw out the figurine saying the command word. If it lands in a spot not occupied, it then turns into whatever that creature is for a time period based on what creature it is, and then it has some different abilities, in which I think Eric, you want to go?
So, the figurines Wonders Power are awesome to me. Anybody that follows the Drizzt Erden stories, originally his panther Guinevere was a Black Panther, and it was a figurine of Wonders Power. I think over the years they kind of changed it, but I don't remember. But in a previous campaign, I had one of these things, and it was uh, epic. It was just an epic item that just saved the day, and everybody laughed about it because it was a hilarious scene. Um, because one of the things is a goat of terror, and that just cracks me up.
Yes.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So
That'd be Griswold's. That would be his animal. For sure.
Yeah.
do you get to choose what the animal is, or is it based on the figurine that you
It's
find?
based on the figurine. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. So if we found the goat, then we have the option of the goat. And
Yeah.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the goat then
There's-
turns into 3 variants,
There's
right?
three versions of it. There's traveling, traverse, and terror. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Traveling,
Yep, traveling,
Something.
travail, and terror.
travail. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the travail does, but
It's just turns into a giant goat for 3 hours, and it can't. Once it's used, it can't be used for 30 days with that one. So some of them,
yeah.
like you can use the next day. Some of them you can't use for 7 days. Some of them you can't use for 30 days. It's based on it. I think the Goat of Traveling had like 24 charges, and you could use a
Something like that.
charge. Yeah. So, but go ahead. Goat of Terror becomes giant goat, and I assume that that's what you would want to find. How would the party use it, and who would use it? What do you think?
Oh, I can see Reed using it
I
actually.
was gonna say I see goat. I hear Goat of Terror, and I think like the mascot for a heavy metal band, and I
Yeah.
think Reed is the most metal of the party. So
So, a little story for those of you that are familiar with Dragonlance or not familiar with Dragonlance. So they don't have halflings in Dragonlance. They have Kender, and Kender are pretty much like halflings, but they are more childlike. They are kleptomaniacs, but don't even realize it. Like they'll have something in their pocket and like I didn't you drop this sort of thing, and they wholeheartedly mean that. They are kleptos and don't even realize it. And they're hilarious characters. My character was a Kender that had one of these things, and the party got split up, and he had to use the traversing one to get to the party fast. And then, the second one, Travail, you pull off one of the horns and becomes a lance.
That's
And
what it
so
is.
he is on this goat, and he's like lancing at these draconians, and he's like killed like three of them, just going back and forth. And he like saved the players, like two players that were like unconscious, and he saved the whole party. And it was just hilarious because it's just this little creature on this goat, and just
That's awesome.
piling through draconians. It was hilarious.
Yeah, one horn I think is a +1 lance, and then the other horn
Yeah.
is a +2 longsword or short sword. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then after the giant goat goes back to size, obviously the horns and weapons disappear, go back into it until it can be used again.
Yeah.
But
But they're
yeah.
it's fun.
So-
there are some really cool ones on there. I do like the goat. Another one I was looking at was that I just like, I thought would be kind of Griswold style would be the marble elephant.
Mhm.
Turns into, like, it's a 4-inch creature. You throw it out and it turns into this ginormous elephant. And I just think
Yeah, he
about like,
probably and he taking it into a bar with him, or taking it in the store with him. No, the
Yeah.
elephant's coming with me.
oh,
How you gotta
Fra-
fit that through the door?
Frank's got 3 watches. He's gonna spend 2 of them in my room.
Yeah.
I love it.
Let me just be inconspicuous in this town. I'm gonna do some loops around the inn with it.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, I'm going to be kind of inconspicuous. Okay, there's a tiger walking through town. Okay, that's normal.
I love it.
So with that, how does that work? Can you just unsummon your familiar?
Yep.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay. So he could drop it and then, right before bed bring
Well,
it back.
His is Flying Steed, which is a little bit different than Familiar, I think. But I'd have to read. I'd have to read it. But yeah.
No, it is. I mean, it's a spell. He's essentially using a spell slot every time, I believe, with some. With Lesser Steed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
he
we traveled
uses
for a
that
couple
spell
days.
slot at night.
So he could drop it
Yeah.
off and then, right before bed bring it back up. You know what I mean? If he took first shift right
Absolutely.
before bed, bring it up, it would be in the room ready to go the next day.
Yeah, that's essentially exactly it.
Okay. And maybe he just doesn't know that because I didn't know that. You know what I mean? So just something to think about for the future. If he watches this, Evan, if you're watching, the tiger might bring some attention. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, that's all.
And luckily, the dice were in your favor to not bring any attention this time.
I mean, it doesn't help that he's like, what, 10 feet tall or something like that.
I feel like he
Exactly.
draws his own,
His own attention, yeah.
So it's kind of comical to me how, like, when you're creating a character, you don't really think about that type of stuff and like, oh, I'm gonna put this character flaw in here and this is this about the character, and you don't think about how that's going to come into play later. It's just
Yeah.
kind of interesting. Like your klepto character, like.
Right.
For all you know, you could have been stealing from your party later on, but you didn't
Right.
plan that. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean,
Like-
it would. it would be the point where the DM would be like, he would like slip me a note and be like, you find this in your pocket, and it'd be like somebody's
Oh, that's
like
cool.
ring. I'm like, huh? I don't know how this got here. Like, I really truly don't know how it got here.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really good way to play it
That's
because you truly
fantastic.
didn't know.
Yeah.
I like that. Whereas on the flip side of things, Reed knows exactly what he's stealing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I cannot
You
wait
know-
until someone besides Adrin catches him. Because I feel like Adrin's seen him and he's just like, whatever, dude.
He's not hurting anything. You talk about different races and things like that. My one friend's always wanting to play like different races. I'm like, okay, but there's going to be consequences. He's always wanting to play like a vampire or a werewolf or something like that. I'm like, okay, you have a whole town, like you have like a city after you because they know you're a vampire. Okay, cool. I'm like, oh, now I gotta plan for this. Thanks, Dave. Thanks a lot.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
Don't
right.
give-
So
I feel like you should not have given Evan any ideas. Don't tell him about that. We'll just
No.
edit this part
No,
out,
no,
right?
no.
We'll just edit
No.
this out. We don't want
No.
Garrett have to deal with it. Go ahead, editors.
No.
Edit this part out.
no, I totally want this to happen because I feel like Evan would take it way too far, and I'm so excited about it.
Just saying, Garrett. Think about creatures like where creatures and vampires that can inflict long-lasting effects.
Oh man, now you gave Garrett the idea. Now
Oh.
we're gonna run into vampires that attack Griswold. And he's gonna be this ginormous vampire that we just walk around with us. We're gonna have to kill him. That's all there's to it.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to kill Grizz.
Yeah, after
Eric, I'll tell you the same thing I told Carl whenever he introduced the Oni to me.
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. Perhaps I'll incorporate that.
And sure enough, we get two of them.
We get down to
Yeah.
the stone giants and they're vampires. Damn it.
Oh my god, that
um,
would suck. Literally.
after playing Curse of Strahd, I'm inclined to carry a vial of fucking holy water everywhere I go.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
I think
Well,
that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I do take that into account that both you have played Curse of Strahd and Eric has DM'd it. So I have been trying to stray away from some of the common storylines whenever I do realize that they're the same. I don't know Curse of Strahd, but I keep running across like something I'll have planned, and it's like, oh, this is so found. More details are found in Curse of Strahd, and I'm like, gosh darn it, just to keep it unique for you guys. But I've been trying to stray away from it a bit.
I stick by what I told you last time. I think you do it and you just put your own spin on it and because the way that Eric and Rusty's DM may have experienced it might be completely different, and you might put a whole new interesting twist on it that they didn't cover or wouldn't even have thought of. And I think that would be really cool to see two different DMs do the same thing from two different perspectives.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's absolutely true. On the one hand, I don't want to ruin storylines or make it dull for them. So I do try to. And plus, there's so much content to pull from this. Like I could build an entire level 20 campaign without ever duplicating most of the storylines. So I figure if I can do that, I will. I know there's some natural overlap. The Night Hag accidentally overlapped a bit. There was one major storyline that I did cut out of mine because I put a ton of research into it. I was all ready to go. I was finalizing some notes, and it's like, yeah, this whole storyline is found in Curse of Strahd. And I was like, son of a. Like it was not to a T, but it was too darn close for comfort. And it's like, you can't have a surprise storyline that was that close, and both of them are surprise storylines. It just, since he's playing it simultaneously, I wanted to keep it fresh with you guys. So I was able to come up with an awesome new one. So I was comfortable with that, but just trying to limit how much.
That's cool.
The same is true for a couple that have come up for Yawning Portal type stories. You find a character, you try to find some research on them, and you're like, oh, it would be really cool since this character does this, or this creature does this, is if the storyline was XYZ with that creature. And it's like, yeah, that's what it was done in Yawning Portal, which is the other campaign we're playing. And it's like, son of a, all right, don't do that either. So again, if I ever run short, I'll say, all right, I'll do it. But it's led to some really other cool, unique ideas that I've implemented because it made me go a little bit further.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's a good point for us to stop, and I think we should also role play as some ghost hunters. What do you guys think?
I think that's a great idea.
Like it.
All right, let's get a little ghost hunter core action, and maybe we'll stream it. We'll see. We'll discuss. But thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you maybe Sunday.
Yes, so far Sunday. I'll send out an invite.
All right.
Oh, Sunday it is? Not
I think
Thursday?
so that seemed.
Okay.
You know, it didn't work out for you, and
Well, like I said, I would
See you guys
probably only
later.
be